Hey, everyone. Jeez, oh, Pete. These lights are extremely bright. Great to meet y'all. My name's Justin Welsh. I wish I had her for literally any talk that I did, or maybe even any regular introduction to anybody. That's really, really kind. I don't know what I did to deserve all those nice things, but my name's Justin Welsh. It's great to be here, and I have a topic that I'm talking about today that not only am I really passionate about, but I also think is going to be really, really important as we move into 2025, as the internet becomes really crowded, as AI plays a bigger and bigger role in the landscape, and that is growing your email list. Before I kind of dive into this presentation, which is really packed, it's packed with strategies, it's packed with tactics, there's a lot of stuff in here. It would be really helpful to understand who in here right now already has grown their email list past 5,000 subscribers. Cool. What about 15,000? 100,000? Who here doesn't have an email list at all? Okay, cool, great. There's gonna be some stuff inside of this presentation that is beneficial for those of you who have never grown an email list. I'm gonna talk about some basics that even a lot of creators and entrepreneurs who have 50,000 or 100,000 subscribers on their email list may be overlooking or maybe forgot about. And then we'll also go into some advanced and some more complex things that I do that helps me use my email list to generate money, to find customers, to get people to buy my products and services. So if you joined me in the VIP room on Thursday, I think it was, I have told the story about who I am, but I'll do it for the other few folks who have joined us here. My name is Justin, and being an online entrepreneur is really my second career. I started out of school being a corporate salesperson, knocking on doors, one of those guys, probably come and annoyed you in some way, shape, or form in your life. And I was in the sales world for about 16 years. The last thing I did in the corporate world or tech world was I was a chief revenue officer for a company here in LA called Patient Pop, right down in Santa Monica. They hired me on with $0 in revenue, and I thought I'd be there for a year or 18 months, and they'd go find a older, more experienced, wiser person to come and do the chief revenue officer job. But I got very lucky, and in my first swing, built that company from $0 to 70 million in 4.5 years, and did what a lot of people in their first executive role do, and maybe this will resonate with some of you in the audience, which is I worked way too hard. I worked 200%. I spent 80-hour weeks, ate a lot of food, drank a lot of booze, didn't get a lot of sleep. I was a pretty miserable person to be around as I helped grow this business. And unfortunately, in late 2018, with my wife Jennifer, right over in Culver City, I had a pretty massive panic attack. And we had to call 911, didn't know what was going on, thought I was dying. I don't know if any of you have ever had a panic attack before. They're pretty scary. And the next day, I went into the workplace and I told my bosses, the two CEOs, I said, I need to do something different. I need to stop doing this. And so that was where the idea for working for myself started. And I didn't really know what to do, to be honest. Like maybe a lot of you, when you started your entrepreneurial ventures, you're like, where do I start? What's step one, right? My thought was that I would need some attention. So I went on to LinkedIn, of all places, because it felt safer than Twitter to write about stuff. And I started writing about all the things that I learned building that company. And something really interesting happened over, let's call it the next 6 to 8 months. People stopped caring about the fact that I was trying to build a consulting business, which is what I was trying to do, and they cared more about the fact that I was growing on social media, which was really interesting to me. I hadn't considered that people might find that interesting. So I started writing about social media. How do you write? How do you land customers? How do you sell products? And I started launching products and having some success. Fast forward 5.5 years, I've been doing this since August of 2019. I talk about solopreneurship on the internet, building a one-man business. It is my business, one person, with a lot of help from my wife, Jennifer, right here. So technically a two-person business. I couldn't run it without her. 1.1 million followers across my two biggest platforms, 200,000 folks on the email list, Business is reaching close to 9 million at 90% profit margins, and a lot of that is through email. Thank you very much. So I wanted to kind of set that up because I think it's going to lead really well into why I think email is so important. And I'm going to show you the 4 product launches that I've had over the past 5 years, and you can take a guess which one was properly planned through email versus the other 3 that were not properly planned, right? In 2019, when I had an email list of 10,000 subscribers, I had a $14,000 weekly launch. That was my first 7-day launch, and I was super jazzed. Those are great numbers, and I unlocked the power of the internet in my mind. I was like, wow, this could actually be something I make a living. After that, 2020, I grew my list almost double, or a little more than double, and did a $36,000 launch in 7 days. This is where I really started to feel some of that traction on what the internet could do for me and for my family. In 2021, I launched my 3rd product. I had 30,000 subscribers, did a $49,000 launch, and that was the last product I launched until January of this year. Now, I spent 3 years building my email list up to, I think, about 160,000 subscribers when I launched in January, but I used that email list to properly launch, and these were the results. With 160,000 subscribers, which is 5 times the number of subscribers previous, we had a 32.9x bigger launch than the previous launch in 2 less days. So the last launch did 1.613 million in 5 days, and a huge part of it, in fact, I would say almost all of it, came through email. Email is truly, right now, the only platform you own. I have had a lot of conversations with folks here in this audience. Hey, what do I do if the LinkedIn algorithm does this, or if the Twitter algorithm does this? And answering those questions as they happen every 3 months is exhausting, right? Always trying to figure out what the algorithm wants, and that's why I love email. Of course, people can unsubscribe. Of course, people don't have to open your emails, but email is super powerful. So in today's agenda, I want to cover a few things. The first thing I'm going to talk about are 4 strategies to grow your email list. I'm going to show you how to create personalized email content that resonates with your subscribers. And then I'm going to show you how to analyze metrics so that you can do this even better over time. Because what I really want you to do is install some of these strategies, write down and try some of these tactics, and then do them over and over to get better over time. So we'll start with 4 strategies for growth. And there are lots of different ways to grow your email list, right? This is not the comprehensive, be-all, end-all 4 strategies only. But these are 4 that I really like using. One is social media, using organic social to grow your list. One is referrals, using a free or paid referral engine to grow your list. A third one is giveaways, so incentivizing your readers to refer over non-readers. And the 4th is viral loops, which is just creating compound growth on your email list through different tactics. So we'll cover those. As I mentioned in the VIP talk, I am not a Canva designer, and I don't have a designer, so this is what my designs look like. So I tried to capture what I'm going to talk about today, last minute. Growing your email list, 4 strategies: social, referral, giveaways, and viral loops. And under social media, I'm going to cover 4 tactics: teasers, yesterdays, more info, and get it in your inbox. So let's start with strategy number 1, which is social media. And before I do, just a quick side note, I'm not going to talk about paid ads. I don't know how to do paid ads. I'm not going to pretend that I do. It's not my expertise. I've never used them. So there are more ways, obviously, to grow your list, but I'm not going to talk about that today. So in my opinion, the easiest and freest way to grow your email list is through organic social media. Now, obviously, you have to spend time. So it's not free, right? It does have a time cost, but these are the best subscribers that you can acquire. They are people who follow you on social media, who resonate with the things that you talk about, and want to learn more about what you have to say, and are letting you into their inbox, right? So I'm going to cover 4 of those. Teasers, which is simply promoting your newsletter or your YouTube video or your recipe or your giveaway, whatever it is. You see I have newsletter there. Whatever it is that you guys gate with email, it doesn't have to be newsletter. I'm just going to use newsletter because that's what I do, but fill in the blank whatever you all use. I'm going to talk about yesterdays, which is simply a day after recap where you're sending people back to your newsletter to get them subscribed. Talk about more info, which is offering more information on a topic when someone is interested right then and there. So when they're reading a piece of social content and you want to convert them into a subscriber, I'm going to show you how to do that. And then lastly, get it in your inbox, which is using a broad, robust lead magnet that you can put anywhere online that someone might run into your brand so you can convert them into a subscriber. So we'll start with social tactic number 1. There's a lot in this presentation, so hopefully you jot a few of these down and try them. You don't have to do them all. Try a few, try them all if you like, and see which ones work for your business. But the number 1 is my favorite. And it's something that I do every single Friday on social media, which is a teaser. It's simply, very basic, a day before teaser. What are you releasing the next day, right? I release my newsletter every Saturday morning at 8:15 Eastern, and every Friday, I tease it out relatively effectively. And I always think about this kind of, I was born in the 80s, so I grew up listening to the radio in the 90s, and there were a lot of teasers in the middle of that, which is like, there are 4 poisonous foods that are gonna hurt your kids, and we'll tell you about them after the commercial. And you're like, geez, I gotta pay attention. Like, I better listen to this commercial, and getting people, teasing them in and getting them hooked in. That's basically what I do on the internet. Every single Friday, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, I just tease it out. And I'll give you an example. A few weeks ago on LinkedIn, I just wrote, the $1,000 weekend challenge, here's how to play, steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm sending the details of this challenge out tomorrow. 229,000 plus people will get the step-by-step instructions on how to play. If you're not on my list, you can join for free here. Very simple, very basic, but really curiosity-inducing. If you're thinking to yourself, I'd love to make $1,000 in a weekend, and I want to play this game, I want to be enrolled in this challenge, you're going to go sign up. So nailing that compelling, curiosity-inducing copy will help you get more people to sign up, as you see. I average about 350, 400, 450 new subscribers every day, and on that Friday, 1,659 new subscribers. This is basically what my email growth looks like every week, is around 450, and then it spikes to nearly 2,000 every Friday. So this keeps my email list growing really, really well. So if you're not doing this, you should be doing this every single week before your long-form gated piece of content comes out. I've taught this to lots of other creators, and so far I haven't had anyone come up to me and say, when I tease out my newsletter or my new recipe or my new fitness program, nobody signs up. They get more subscribers on those days. That's a real basic one. Let's talk about tactic number 2 that I see a lot of people miss, which is the reverse of the teaser. And that is simply called yesterdays. And yesterdays are recaps that you share on social media the day after you actually produce your newsletter or your YouTube video or your recipe, right? So that for me is on Sunday. And that gets me to produce a piece of copy, drive them to the newsletter, and then ask them again to subscribe. Because a lot of folks will miss the teaser on Friday. A lot of people will see it and choose not to subscribe. Plus, I'll get new followers over the weekend, so by the time Sunday rolls around, people have no idea what I'm talking about with a $1,000 weekend challenge. So I want to make sure that I recap what I wrote and ask people to get on my email list. The easiest way to do that is drive them there and then remove all friction from signing up for your email list. It should be really, really easy to join your email list. For example, if you see one of my tweets the day after a newsletter goes out, I might write something like this. Yesterday, X amount of subscribers learned a thing. They learned 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you missed it, read here. Simple, drive them to my website. But when they get there, I want to continuously show them this is how easy it is to be a subscriber of my newsletter. My goal is to show them 1, call to action, 2 calls to action if they click on the button in the top right corner, a 3rd call to action that follows them as they read the newsletter, and a fourth call to action when they reach the bottom. My newsletters average 4 minutes in read. If I show them 4 calls to action, that means essentially they are seeing 1 call to action every 60 seconds. Now, will everyone subscribe? Of course not. But there will be a subsection of people who go to this article, find it to be tremendously valuable, and decide to give me their email address. So Fridays and Sundays, really big days for subscribers. So if you're not doing that, you don't need to replace your content on Friday and Sunday in this example. You could even just add these on. Add a teaser, add a yesterday. Do it every single week, and over time, your email list will grow a lot faster. Social tactic number 3 is more info. I'm going to give you 2 examples of how to do this. One way that I do it, one way that a good friend of mine does it very effectively on platforms like LinkedIn. More info is pretty simple. What it is every time that somebody is reading a piece of social content, I want you to get them off social media, give them more information, and require them to give you their email address so they can continue to learn about the topic they were reading about. So again, I'll give you a couple different examples. This is my buddy Eric Partaker. He is an entrepreneur over in Lisbon, Portugal, and he is a CEO coach. Eric, much like myself, has a large LinkedIn following, and he writes a lot of text-based content, which you see on the left, which is meant to teach CEOs how to do a better job. But every time he writes a piece of text-based content, he also creates these really unique one-sheeters. Kind of summarizes everything that he wrote about in his text. And, believe it or not, there are a lot of folks who want to collect these things. They want to get all of these one-sheeters into their inbox so that they can study them, read them again, revisit them, learn about them, print them out, put them on their desk at work. And so Eric does something really smart. At the end of every single LinkedIn post he writes, he says, "Do you want a high-resolution PDF of this cheat sheet? Try my free newsletter." He is essentially saying, you're reading about a topic right now that's interesting to you. Do you want to learn more about it? Do you want to have this piece of very relevant content at your fingertips anytime? Get it for free by signing up for my newsletter, drives them to his website, gets their email address, he gets a new newsletter subscriber, and his customer gets a high-value cheat sheet that they have already said, I want because I'm reading about this right now. This is an opportunity for you to build a portfolio of lead magnets. And I was just at an entrepreneurs conference in Atlanta a few weeks ago, and a YouTube follower who utilizes, a YouTube creator, 500,000 subscribers, who utilizes lead magnets very well, said, create for the lead magnet. Design lead magnets that your audience tells you they want to learn about that specific topic or that specific challenge, and then circle those lead magnets with content so that every piece of content is driving back to these portfolio of lead magnets, and you have a portfolio of relevant things you can give away for free should someone sign up for your email list. I do it a little differently. I don't actually have lead magnets. Right? I think they're valuable, and it's something I'm working on in 2025 and strategizing around, but I take a different approach. What I do is I write pieces of content organically on places like LinkedIn and Twitter, and then I just watch. I'm like, is this resonating or not? Are a lot of people liking this, commenting on it? Sometimes I write things and it's a dud, right? It's like people don't care about it, so be it, right? Other times I write things and it explodes, and for some reason, this tweet really did well. Here's how I think about my business, goals, strategy, tactic, and efforts. I simply plan on outlasting most people. That very basic piece of content, for some reason, generated 4,000 likes, and people enjoyed it, which is great. So I thought to myself, this is an opportunity to get more info, to tell them more info about this topic. So I added a second tweet. Business is a marathon, not a sprint, and I started talking about the 5 phases of solopreneurship. More people liked that, so I thought this is a great opportunity to tell them even more about this topic. So I threw another tweet on the end and said, can you play the decade game? Here's how you do it, the 5 phases of solopreneurship, and I sent them to my newsletter, right? My newsletter is ungated. It is free to read. You do not need to be a subscriber to read it, yet I'm still able to acquire 230,000 subscribers because I use the free newsletter to collect those email subs. Just like we talked about on the teasers and yesterdays, when they get there, it has to be easy to sign up. I cannot tell you how many times I have gone to an entrepreneur's website, read an article, and been like, how the hell do I join this email list? Like, do I click on one of the pages up top in the navigation? I can't find a box to put my email address. How frustrating. If you have a piece of content anywhere on your website, there's got to be a call to action to acquire that email address. And I highly recommend more than one. So more info is really simple, right? You can do this with a portfolio of lead magnets, or you can continue adding on to pieces of content that you've already published to eventually drive people to your website and make it really easy for them to subscribe. The last social tactic I want to talk about is called get it in your inbox. And this is generally using a more broad and robust lead magnet that you know deeply resonates with your audience. So instead of these little tactical lead magnets that you can use with relevant pieces of content, create a high-value add lead magnet that you know will resonate across a variety of followers of yours on the internet. Something highly topical, high-level, broad, but really valuable. And I'll give you a few examples to show you what I mean on how to use this effectively. My buddy Sahil Bloom does a really good job of this. Everyone that follows him wants to know these life hacks. How do you live a better life, a more powerful life, build a more powerful business? So he compiled 50 powerful life hacks, and he put them into an ebook. If you go to Sahil's website, if you go to his Twitter profile, go to his LinkedIn profile, his Instagram, his threads, everywhere that you could run into his business or his brand, this is there, because he knows through testing that it resonates with his audience. And when you go there, it's very simple. First name, email address. No navigation, no big blinking cursors, no ability to scroll down, no ability to do anything except for either leave or enter your email address, right? My friend Dickie Bush does an exceptional job at this. He teaches about online writing. And he has a free 7-day online writing course that you get through email. So again, if you go to Dickie's Twitter profile, startwritingonline.com is his broad lead magnet, and it's literally everywhere you run into his brand. This is great because Dickie gets an opportunity to send people emails over 7 days that are educational, teach them how to start writing online, and then what do they lead to? Of course, naturally, his community of writers, his SaaS products for writers, but he's also collecting new subscribers for his newsletter, which he writes separately every single week. Jay Klaus does this really effectively, a little bit differently. He uses a toolbox. So he owns a business called Creator Science. So every single person in his audience is generally what I identify as a creator. So he puts together a creator toolbox, 60 free creator tools. It's everywhere you might run into Jay. And last but not least, Cody Sanchez, she does a really great job of this. She sells kind of a more high-ticket item, which is teaching people in a mastermind how to acquire businesses. So rather than drip out some 7-day lead magnet email course or a PDF or something like that, every single time you go to her social profiles, you have an opportunity to join a really robust 60-minute masterclass on business. Now, this is evergreen, it's pre-recorded, so Cody is essentially out there creating content, publishing it to the world, and she is coaching hundreds of people every single day on recording and getting them onto her newsletter, into her funnel. This is a great way for Cody to expose herself every single time her brand exists on the internet. So lots of different ways to do this. Ebooks, toolboxes, 7-day email courses, webinars. There's no right way. It's just figuring out what resonates with your audience. So get it in your inbox is simply taking advantage of a broad, wide-ranging lead magnet that your audience will appreciate. Those are social basics. I have grown my email list mostly through social media, and there's no hacks or tricks. There's no like special secrets that I've got to growing the list other than doing those 4 things most of the time, right? I'm pretty darn consistent at making sure that every Friday I tease, every Sunday I do it yesterday, And now, as I enter 2025, I'm starting to incorporate this portfolio of lead magnets I'm building and this more broad lead magnet that I'm creating for my audience. I can't wait to share how those results go, but you can see even getting 2 of those right can be very powerful. Strategy number 2 is referrals. A referral is when a creator or entrepreneur simply sends you a subscriber. And you can do this either for free, where you're trading subscribers, or you can do this with a paid mechanism, where you're literally raising your hand and saying, I'm willing to pay someone $2, $2.50, $1.50 to send me a subscriber, right? So this is what it looks like when you're trading subs with people. I trade with Ali Abdal, Eric, Dan Go. You can see here, Ali is sending me people. He's sending them to my Saturday Solopreneur newsletter. So when someone signs up with Ali on his email newsletter, he says, based on my newsletter, here are 4 other people that you might like. Now, I do the same thing for Ali. And because we're both growing our audience at the same time, we're crossing over and just sending each other a ton of different subs. You don't have to have 1 million followers to do this. You don't even have to have 10,000 followers. Pair up with some of your friends, make sure they're relevant. So if you're a fitness coach, maybe not a baker, right? If you're a fitness coach, maybe someone who has an ancillary business that kind of aligns with what you do, and trade those relevant subs. Again, you don't have to be big to do this. There's also the paid mechanism. You can use a tool called SparkLoop, where you can literally go out and create a link that anyone can use and say, I'll pay you for every subscriber that you send me. Now, this can be 2 really awesome ways to grow your email newsletter or your email list. But like all good things, there is a downside, right? Referrals are much less likely to be familiar with your brand. They're much less likely to open your emails. They're much less likely to buy your products and services. When someone subscribes to Ali's newsletter and then comes through his referral into mine, they know Ali, not me, right? So I have found for my business, and this could differ for yours, so it's always worth testing, is that these subscribers are generally about 3 times to 4 times less valuable to my business. But they are still valuable, right? So with that in mind, here are some tactics that you want to deploy if you're going to use a referral program. The first one is you want to set up a separate welcome email for referrals. Tag them as a referral, put them into a separate automation. Instead of just being like, hi, I'm Justin, I teach business, see you Saturday. I'm like, hi, I'm Justin Welsh. You might know me from Ali Abdel's newsletter because you subscribed through his referral. Here's a picture of me and Ali together in Atlanta, right? Put a face, like 2 faces together. That really is a great tactic that works really well. You probably came to Ali's newsletter because of his tips on productivity. Well, I'm going to help you turn those productivity tips into building your first online business, really framing up why they should be there, right? And of course, you also want to give them the opportunity to say, I didn't actually mean to sign up for this newsletter. This is a mistake, right? So tell them, by the way, if you didn't mean to sign up through Ali's list, here's an unsubscribe link. Feel free to unsubscribe right now. That's going to lower your spam complaints. That's going to lower the number of subscribers. If your contacts go up and you have to move to another contact level and pay more, right, it's going to solve a lot of those problems by giving them the opportunity. Even if you do that, you will still get a lot of subscribers who don't care about your email list. They don't open your emails, they don't click on anything, they don't buy anything. Prune aggressively. Tag them, separate them, monitor them, and use automation to prune them. If person with tag referral does not open email within 21 days, unsubscribe automatically, right? This is a great way to, again, keep your costs down, keep your spam down, and keep your list tight and clean so you're sending things to people that care. And then segment your reporting. I know people who have email lists of 200,000, half of them are organic, half of them are referred, and they're just blending all of the metrics. How do you understand the value of a referred subscriber if you blend them into your organic subscribers, right? So again, tag them and segment your reporting, because what you're trying to answer is, are these folks worth it, right? For the free referrals, maybe less important. Maybe it's like, great, I'll just take more email subs so when I have a book launch or a product launch, I have a better opportunity to make money or sell my products, right? But if you're paying for people, you have to know how much those folks are worth. Because I would hate for you to pay $2 per sub and find out they're worth 15 cents a piece, right? You're literally losing money. Here is what I mean when I say that. If you acquire 100 subscribers to your business, in over 30 days, those 100 subscribers purchase in total $200 worth of your products. Over 90 days, they purchase in total, all 100 people, spend about $275 in total. And then at 180 days, those 100 subscribers have spent $600 in total with your business. Well, then using some simple math, we can say 100 subscribers equals $600. That means the average value of these referred subscribers are $6 in this example, right? That's pretty cool, because now you can go out and say, I want to spend money. I'll spend $1 or $1.50 or $2 or $3 or $5, right? I would even argue you could spend $6. Grow your list to make yourself more attractive to sponsors and be neutral in cost. That's an interesting way to think about growing your list. But if you can spend $1 and get someone worth $6, you're creating what I call a money machine, right? You put $1 in the top, you pull the lever, and $6 comes out the bottom. That's a pretty great way to scale your business if you can prove that sustainably and consistently, right? You can see guys like Sahil and Profit Plus use this approach. Sahil's saying, I will spend $1.50. Profit Plus is saying, I will spend $3 a subscriber. They have likely run the math and made these investments. Especially if you have a sponsorship or partnership program, I highly recommend, this is what Sahil and I were recently talking about, every dollar you make on sponsorships, if you can prove that you'll get a value by reinvesting that in your business, take the $3,000 or $500 you make on a sponsorship and go spend it on subscribers, right? This is a great way to use that sponsorship or partnership money if you have it. So, quick summary of referrals. Partner with other creators to exchange free email subscribers. Remember, the quality will likely never be the same, but if you track them effectively, this can be the start of a really interesting way to grow your business. And if you can prove that these referred subscribers are in fact valuable, then again, you have another mechanism, another play in your playbook or tool in your toolkit to grow your email list and your business at the same time. I want to talk about strategy number 3. We've talked about organic social media, growing your email list by using content. We talked about 4 tactics. Strategy number 2 is referrals. And strategy number 3 is giveaways. And giveaways are really interesting. This is something that I plan on using a lot. And when I say a lot, maybe once a quarter, so that's not a lot, but probably once a quarter in 2025, because I've been watching a couple of my friends leverage this strategy really, really effectively. So giveaways are just using automation to essentially send people to a place where they can get your lead magnet. For some reason, this works really effectively because it combines content and copywriting with automation. I'm going to show you an example of exactly what I mean. So, the first thing you want to do is create something that you know your audience will think is valuable, right? So think about it. If you already have a valuable lead magnet that you've proven works, you can use that. If you don't have one, create something that you believe, because you've talked to your audience, it will work extremely well or be extremely compelling to them, okay? Then you can use an automated tool. There are tools like HypeFury, Taplio, Tweet Hunter. I'm not going to go into every different tool that you can use. You can go do the diligence on your own, find these tools, but most of them have the same exact feature built in, which is you can set up constraints on social media posts and tell the software, if somebody does X and Y, I want you to send them to a page where we can capture their email address, okay? My buddy Jake Ward did this 3 weeks ago extremely well. Got, I think, 4,000 new email subscribers from this one LinkedIn post. He wrote, I grew a LinkedIn company page to 2 million views in 12 weeks, resulting in a 63% growth in customer signups. Blah, 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 blah. So today, I'm giving you my detailed thinking, findings, and the exact steps to achieve such results with a LinkedIn company page for free. Inside, you'll find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All you have to do is leave a like and comment send, and I will DM it over. Now, if you're a content creator, you probably know why this works, right? People like it, they comment send, the algorithm loves that, it juices the post gets seen by lots and lots and lots of people, as you can see in Jake's. 3,427 likes or engagements, 6,250 comments, and a bunch of reposts. We can imagine that a good deal of those comments are what he asked for, send, right? Jake uses a tool, and it tracks and says when somebody clicks like, and then when somebody comments send, it DMs that person automatically from his account and says, here's the page that you should go to get your free LinkedIn company guide. This works incredibly well because it combines virality of content with something that people genuinely and truly want, which is a valuable lead magnet. You can see here, I set this up inside of the stuff I use, which is to receive a DM, the user must retweet, and I can check reply or like. I'll send a maximum of 500. I'm going to send them to this site. Here's the email list I want to put them on. This is awesome. It is a great way to combine great viral content with conversions into email subs. Just like referrals, there is a downside, right? The big downside with this tactic is that it can be annoying and spammy, right? If you go onto LinkedIn or Twitter every day and ask people to engagement farm on your post, you're probably going to start getting ignored by your audience, which is why I think it's really important to use this very sparingly. I think the best way to use this is once a quarter with something really, really compelling. You can try once a month, you can try once a week. I have a feeling that you will enjoy doing this once a quarter, and your audience is much less likely to get burned out. The second downside is the people that actually like this and comment send. I mean, who knows who those people are, what kind of quality they'll be. They could be connections of connections of connections, people who will never buy your products and services, right? This is another opportunity to tag those folks, set them aside, segment them, and run metrics to make sure you understand how much money are they spending, what's the average subscriber worth, what is their lifetime value. Again, you want to segment out anybody that comes through these different tactics because you'll figure out this tactic doesn't work, and therefore I'm never doing it again, or I'll try again with a different tactic. And this tactic works so well that I'm going to do it twice as much. And when you start learning those things, these process and systems will allow you to grow your email list. And last but not least, you still need to know how to write, right? You can't just be like, hey, I got this thing. You want it? Like and DM. It's not that easy, right? I wish it were. But you got to write really compelling copy. This is where great copywriting comes in, really good screenshots come in, blur the information out, curiosity-inducing, really tease it out. You know, study some of the great copywriters and learn how they get people to lean in with their curiosity. So, quick summary on giveaways. Once per month or quarter, just create something of massive value, make people like and engage on your content in order to qualify. And again, test it easy. Make sure you're kind of also doing the qualitative stuff where you're reading through the comments, making sure you're not turning your audience off, people aren't getting sick of it. I don't just look at data. I also read all that stuff to make sure I'm getting a pulse check on the audience. Strategy number 4, viral loops. It's a really cool and complex name. It's actually really simple, but it's something I actually don't see a lot of creators doing at all. And there's a company that I think does it really well. It's Morning Brew. So if you're not familiar with Morning Brew is a really big, huge media company. And they send an email that's generally the first thing that I open every morning, which is just like, here's what's going on in the world, right? Here's what's happening last night, and here's what's happened this morning, and stuff you should pay attention to. And at the end, Morning Brew incentivizes their readers to refer non-readers, right? And when their readers refer non-readers, those non-readers get onboarded, and then they start to refer non-readers who become readers who refer non-readers. So this type of referral really generates steam. They do it through a very simple giveaway program, right? They give away hats and stickers and joggers. And the cool thing is, if you can do 1,000 of these, they'll send you a really expensive, complex, and unique work-from-home setup. So they got a lot of motivated folks out there trying to turn their friends into Morning Brew readers. If you know Alex and Austin, the guys who started this company, they are real guerrilla marketers, grassroots. They started this business at the University of Michigan. Boo. I'm an Ohio State guy. They started at the University of Michigan by going around from class to class and literally signing people up. And this is still some of that guerrilla kind of youthful marketing that they do that I love, is just getting people into this very simple referral program. By the way, most of you probably don't have a factory where you're printing T-shirts, I would imagine, so you can do this much more simply, right? Refer 10 people and get a free course. Refer 20 people and get one-on-one time with me for 15 minutes. Whatever it is that you have, just make it very simple so that you're not spending a ton of extra time doing work, right? Don't make this perfect, just make it valuable to your reader. So, quick summary of that, just build a program that heavily incentivizes readers to refer non-readers for your list. All right, let's get into some of the more advanced stuff. If you go out and if you've written down some of these strategies and some of these tactics and you deploy them, that's the important part, you will start to grow your email newsletter or your email list. The next logical question that you should be asking yourself, and this is where I think email is going in 2025, is I've got a bunch of subscribers. Now what do I do with those subscribers? I can't tell you how many email lists I have signed up for where there's no communication. Sign up, I don't even get like a confirmation email, and then 6 months later they're like, we're launching a course. And I'm like, who are you, right? No idea who those people are. This is where you need to start being very personal, very segmented, and very custom in 2025. I love collecting data on my audience. To me, this is where the email game is going, right? If you can collect data, you can start to segment your audience into smaller groups based on really specific criteria. If you do that, you can send much more targeted email, you can create more targeted content, you can create better products and services, you can do so many things better when you have data on your audience, right? This is an example of just 3 blocks of data I have on my audience. I have 192,500 data points on my audience. I know that the #1 challenge my audience has that has already started a business is that 33% of them need a bigger audience. 26.7 want better process and systems. Of those who are already monetizing, 33.7 do online courses, 30.9 are services and consulting, and here is a platform breakdown of what my audience uses. Overwhelmingly LinkedIn, next Twitter, third is other, which I break down into free-form text that I use AI to analyze so I can see all the different platforms that they use, right? That is one way to segment your audience, and I'm going to actually revisit that, show you how I do it, and then show you what you can do with that information. But let's start with something really simple, right? What's one thing that you can segment your audience that Kajabi just provides for you right up front, which is, have they bought anything for you, right? Have they bought a product or service? Are they part of your coaching program? Have they purchased your course? And then you can very simply run promos against that list to offer them new and more relevant products. For example, last year, and again this year, I'll do an early Black Friday sale. And I would hate to email my list and be like, hey, I don't know any of you guys, here's all my products, do you want to buy them? And have someone write back and be like, I just bought this 2 weeks ago at full price, can I have half off, right? But I get those emails all the time from people I've already bought stuff from. That's just like marketing 101 to me, right? So last year, people who had neither of my products, they got an email for 2 of them, right? And inside of that email, I said, here's a description of the products and a testimonial from people you probably know that have used those products. If they bought my LinkedIn course, they got an email from my content course with a testimonial and description of that course. And if they had my content course, they got one from my LinkedIn course. And it looked just like this. Eric Partaker talked about the LinkedIn, Dickie Bush talked about the content. They got a very specific email. That helped us do $100,000 in 4 days in Black Friday sales, which we had never been able to crack that code because I was spraying and praying leading up to that. Like, when I look back on that, I think of that as a rookie mistake, but I didn't know any better to segment them out and actually say, you already have this thing of mine over here. Why don't you take a look at this other relevant product that you might not have looked at yet and is currently on sale, and check out this testimonial. Now let's get into the stuff that's really fun, though. Like, it's cool to be like, you already have this product, so here's another one. That's probably pretty basic. Here's where it gets really complex, right? When someone signs up for your email list, I want you to think about learning as much as you can about them so that you can deliver relevant content, right? We're all at a networking event. And the first thing that we generally say to someone when we meet them is, hello, right? And then we don't just start pitching our products. We might ask them questions. Oh, where are you from? How are you enjoying the conference? Tell me a little bit about your business. Oh, wow, that sounds complicated. What are your biggest challenges? Cool, where do you hope to be in the next year? What's the next thing that you're working on? That's natural conversation. We never have that on email. We're just like, hi, I'm Justin Welsh, and I teach people how to build businesses, and stay tuned for my products. And it's like, it's this really weird one-way conversation. You gotta change that in 2025. The internet's getting busier, more crowded, AI is taking over, content creation has never been easier, so lots more people are playing. People are subscribed to 30 newsletters in their inbox, so if you're not useful or important in your newsletter, they're gonna start deleting you. And I think knowing a lot about people is the easiest way to stay valuable and to stay relevant. So I always ask things like, what's your priority focus? What are your 2 biggest challenges? Maybe 1 or 2 more data points to start. I happen to collect an additional 6, but this is a great place to start. I use a simple tool called WriteMessage. I'm not an affiliate. I don't own part of it. I just happen to love it, so I will mention it. It works very well with your Kajabi website, and you can simply embed a survey into your email thank you page, right? So someone signs up for my newsletter. The first thing I ask him is, what are you primarily looking for my help with? Growing your audience or growing your business? I have learned that if you get the first question right, 2 answers, by the way, give them 2 simple answers, you will get about an 80% completion rate on this survey. If you get the first question wrong and you make it too long, too complex, too much thinking, you'll get a 65% completion rate. It's a pretty big difference. We've tested this a lot of different ways. Simple question. What are you primarily looking for my help with? Audience, business. Tapping into the caveman brain. I don't want them to type things. I just want them to literally bang buttons, right, to move through this. So what are you looking for my help with? Great. I have a lot to share about growing an online business. Have you started yet? I haven't started. I'm making money on the side, or I'm full-time. Well, how do you want to make money online? Courses, services, coaching. Do you have a full-time job right now? Cool. Do you have personal savings to support you? Do you have an audience of at least 50,000 followers? What's the primary platform you'll use to start growing your business? What's your #1 challenge in trying to start your course business? Last question, what's your dream state in 6 months? If you've studied copywriting, you know that I have collected every single point of data I need to write compelling copy to this person. I know their biggest challenges, I know their dream state, I know their platform, I know how they make money, I know if they have enough money in the bank, I know if they're working. Literally everything about this person I know through collecting that. And because this survey is that caveman brain, bang the button, bang the button, bang the button, get about an 81% completion rate on this, which is really, really stunning. Collected a ton of data on my readers, and it is super useful. The first thing that I can do when I do this is build a recommendation engine. And what I mean by that is at the end of them answering questions, based on their answers using right message, and again, you can embed this in your Kajabi, based on answering those questions, I can pitch them the right product. So if someone says, I run a consulting business, LinkedIn's my primary platform, but I've only got 5,000 followers, and I need to grow a more valuable audience, I can be like, great. You should join 25,000 students in my course on LinkedIn. Here's a link to get it for 50% off. And I convert a percentage of people right then and there who sign up for my newsletter. This is great for low-ticket offers, right? Anytime you have a $9 or $59 or $99 product, you can convert people literally right now if you offer them the right product to the right person solving the right challenge at the right time. Then I want to really do three things. Once I've collected that data, I want to first put them into personas, right? I really have about 3 personas that I know. After all that data, there's basically 3 different types of people, Dan, Sue, and Bob, who come onto my email list. They almost all fit into one of 3 personas. So I simply label them as such. This is persona A, persona B, persona C. You can see how much data I collect. This is literally another screenshot of like 10 different screenshots. I collect so much data to put them into a persona. The next thing that I can do, and this is where I think this is maybe one of the most powerful things you can do, is instead of being like, great, you're on my newsletter, and I know you told me you can't wait to grow your coaching business on Twitter. By the way, I just happened to be writing on LinkedIn about course businesses this week. Like sending them that newsletter, that would be irrelevant to their business. So I don't just want to start sending them my Saturday newsletter about whatever topic is on the top of my mind. I would much rather send them article after article after article that is highly relevant to the stuff they just told me. So I build something called a shadow newsletter. And again, with my awesome design skills, I tried to show you what that looks like. People come in through the top, they sign up for my email list, I drop them into one of a number of personas, and using that persona, there's only 4 boxes here, but for me, it's like 10, 12 weeks. The next 10 or 12 weeks, they get newsletters that are pointed exactly at them, their challenge, their future state, all the things that I just learned about them. So they'll be saying week after week, man, it's like Justin's inside my head. It's like he knows me. Well, I do, because you just told me everything about you and your business and where you want to be in 6 months. And now I can align my shadow newsletter to that, and then drop them into my Saturday newsletter at the end. And then last but not least, and this is what drove the $1.613 million launch we did earlier this year, was I can send them personalized emails for a product launch. I had 10 pre-launch emails, 4 open card emails, and 4 post-launch emails for my last course. All the emails were exactly the same for everyone except for one paragraph inside each email where I might say, you know, if you're a course creator on LinkedIn, you've got less than 50,000 followers, and your goal in the next 6 months is to make a meaningful amount of money so you can quit your job, literally everything I just learned about them, here's why this course is a good fit for you. Versus, if you're running a sponsorship program through Instagram, and you've got 100,000 followers, but you're looking to scale your business from 6 figures to 7 figures, here's why this course is perfect for you. So I can literally speak to them as though I know everything about them, because I do. My friend and I ran a test on the data. I had 200,000 subscribers, whittled that down to 18,000 people that were interested in my course that came out in January. And then we personalized every email. But we took 15% of that group and we actually set them aside as a control group and said, let's just send them generic emails. And we found out that if we had only used generic emails, the course launch would have gone from 1.613 million down to 900,000. It would have been great, successful course launch by all means, but it would have been literally almost 50% less because of those generic emails. And again, with the advance in AI, with this internet becoming crowded, this is how you become overly valuable to the people that you are emailing on a regular basis. You can see that here. I already explained this in the VIP section. There's just little pieces of content here that say like, if subscriber 6 equals, if business monetization equals coaching, then say you let me know that you're a coach, which means that your clients are blah, blah, blah. It's just called liquid code. You can find a lot of people who know how to do it, know how to write it. I don't, so I just hired someone and say, write these little snippets for me and stick them into the emails, and we made those emails very, very personal. If you get segmentation right, there are lots of serious benefits. You're actually having a conversation with stuff you know about someone. You're going to get better open rates, better click-through rates, and better conversions. This is really critical, especially if you're selling high-ticket stuff. If you're selling a $9 course, fine, be generic. Right? I don't think you need to be that personal. If you're just like, hey, this is the first time you've heard from me, and by the way, my packages are $5,000, and I'm going to educate you over the next 12 weeks, and I hope that you buy something, you better talk to someone like you know them, because that's the way that you can add a significant number of value to that person versus being generic. So a summary of segmentation. Collect information using a survey post opt-in, segment your list into different personas, deliver a shadow newsletter for an arbitrary number of weeks. Could be 4, could be 6, could be 10. It's your call, right? And then all that data you collect, don't just speak personally to people. Review the data. Create better content. Write better newsletters. Build better products. There are so many times where someone will go through my survey, and at the end, I don't have a product for them. So I don't recommend one using the recommendation engine. But I collect that as an idea, and as those ideas start getting votes, the one that rises to the top is the next thing that I build. So I already know that people want it, I just don't have it, and then when I build it, I can go back to those people and say, you told me all this about yourself, I built something for that. It's an easy sale when you have this information on people. All right, see my timer, I've got about 3 minutes. This is a really granular presentation. Hope you're getting a lot of stuff from it. This is the last part, is how do I get better at this over time? Metrics are obviously critical to understanding whether or not you're doing this well. And the more you track the appropriate metrics, the better you can improve your strategies, you can deliver bigger and better results over time. And here are some metrics that I track that are pretty basic, but how I use these to get better week over week. Most people send emails and they're like, damn, open rate went down. Okay. What do I do with that information? Or click-through rate was lower. It must be a setting I had clicked wrong. It's like every time that an open rate goes down or a click-through rate goes down or up, we should be studying that. We should be asking ourselves, what does that mean, right? So the first thing I measure is open rate. Measures how people are opening the emails, generally reflective of the quality of your subject line, your preview text, the day and time you send emails. If you have track in your Kajabi analytics of all your open rates, grab your top 5 open rates, go over to Claude.ai, and say, here are my top 5 open rates, here's the next topic of my next newsletter, suggest 3 open rates based on these that you think would perform well. That's what I've been doing, and my open rates have been going up and up and up every week. Your click-through rate shows the percentage of people who clicked on one or more links inside of your email. This just tells you, do you have relevant and engaging content? Do you have strong and clear calls to action? Are you personalizing your emails through segmentation? This is another opportunity to use AI. I like to take all those charts I showed you in WriteMessage, upload them to Claude, and say, based on this data, what is the most compelling and impactful call to action I can use at the end of my newsletter? And it just creates these compelling and curiosity-inducing calls to action that get bigger click-through rates and therefore more sales. You want to measure your conversion rate. Shows the percentage of people who did something, clicked a link and completed an action. Most commonly, bought something from you, right? This just says, am I targeting people through segmentation with the right offer? When they click the link and get to my landing page, does the landing page copy, subheaders, calls to action align with all the stuff they just read in the email? You should be looking, is this a cohesive and logical next step? If you say, grow your coaching and consulting business on LinkedIn, check out my course, and they go there and it says something completely different, that's a problem. I use WriteMessage to take all of the data that I just collected and show them different headers and subheaders on my landing pages, different testimonials on my landing pages. So if you sell a course on LinkedIn and you want to go buy that product, all the testimonials are from people who sell courses on LinkedIn. So it's highly relevant. So not only the emails are personalized, my landing pages are personalized as well. Bounce rate, the percentage of your emails that could not be delivered to the person's inbox. This is just an outdated list. Your emails are too large. You have a ton of attachments. Again, this is why you want to scrub your list on a continual basis, right? And last but not least, the unsubscribe rate. Tracks the rate at which people are opting out. And again, this is just your content's not aligned with expectations. It's not personalized. It's not relevant. You have poor email design. You can fix all of these things with personalization, okay? If you use personalization and segmentation really well, you will improve your open rate, you will improve your click-through rate, and you will improve your conversion rate. At the same time, you will decrease your bounce rate, and you will decrease your unsubscribe rate. And that, to me, is why not just acquiring email subscribers is important, it's how you talk to them in 2025 that is going to be important. So, I hope you guys got some value out of the 4 strategies, some of the tactics, some of the personalization. I'm sure there's a lot of questions. I'm sure a lot of that is, some of it is more advanced or more complex. Google personalized email segmentation. You're going to learn a lot about it. It's not as hard to get set up as you might think. So go out, study that, and see how it can help improve your business and your launches in 2025. Thanks a lot.